Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today we're doing episode 3 of my horror comics recommendations for spooky season. I don't know why I called it that, but basically Halloween. And this is things, comics or collections that I'm going to recommend that aren't as well known as like Tales from the Crypt and all that stuff, but just stuff that I think I should recommend that I'm enjoying. So this one is Boris Karloff's Tales of Mystery Volume 1. And it turns out that there's quite a few of these. I never even knew this existed until I found it at Toddaway Books, which is up here, half-price books, but there wasn't any more, so, oh well, there wasn't any more. So here is the front, side, back. And it says, Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery. There's a chill in the air. The floorboards creak and groan, but no one is there. The lights flicker and the doorknob is cold to the touch. You feel as if eyes in the dark are following you, and the cry of a cat rattles your nerves. Pull up the covers around you and prepare to enter a world of haunted nightmare and terrifying adventure. Your guide is the master of horror, Boris Karloff, and these are the Tales of Mystery. This archive collects the two-issue run of Boris Karloff's thriller, unavailable since 1962, as well as the first 2 issues of the comic that continued the series for the next 2 decades, Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery. Now, obviously, since with the date on here, 1962, this puts them in the code era. This isn't pre-code. This does fall under the comic code. Era. But, that doesn't necessarily make them bad. So, you pop it in there. This isn't, on the inside cover, you have a nice little embossed picture of the horror meister. You pop in there, and there is a few pages in. This book was published in, the book itself was published in 2009, but it has a table of contents. And then there's an introduction by Sarah Karloff, who I'm guessing is a daughter or granddaughter. But these are the typical code, post-code horror set in the 60s. So there's a lot of hippie type stuff and things like that. And Karloff is your host. You've always got to always have a host who introduces the story. Keeper, the old witch, in Tales from the Crypt and all that. You have all the different people in the different versions. And Boris Karloff, oddly enough, is the horror host in the Boris Karloff Tales of Mystery series. Who would have thunk it? But this this is a Dark Horse collection. I I seriously doubt the Dark Horse did the original printing of it, because I don't think they existed in the 60s. This looks like the old like Key Comics type of art, something along that line. So it's a bit different than the stuff yesterday's version of the Kirby things with the pre-code and all that. This is a little bit more clean, a little bit more just regular comic type stuff. But and then every once in a while they'll have a prose story in there. The art is a little bit more clean, a little bit more and that fits with the story because, if you catch the pre-code stuff, we all know that those are some pretty, stories, and these ones have to be, especially in the 60s, there's not, you can't get anywhere near the type of stuff they did back then. I mean, you can do it now. But, so the art is kind of fitting for the time. It's just common for the 60s and for the stories that are involved in it. It's not saying the stories are bad. They're just, they're code horror early code horror, as opposed to pre-code and, some stuff now. But it is still just kind of fun to read because it is, it's old horror. Not as good as the pre-code stuff, but still it's fun to like I said, it's fun to read, and it pulls you along. So I'm gonna give this a 3.75 out of 5, and just by the way, this is $49.95. It is a hardback. I have checked online, and some of the other volumes from 2 on are like triple digits. So if you have that type of money to spend on that type of stuff, go ahead. But I'm saying if you can find them at like half price books, I think that's called down in the contiguous states, or wherever you're at, probably get them better there, or if you can find a deal on it. But it's some good stuff. So that is my recommendation for episode 3. And let me know if you ever read it. Like, subscribe. Most be sharing, most of all, enjoy your horror collections.